A lot of businesses are deceptively one thing while actually being another thing, right? So they present as a certain kind of business while the actual nature of the business is different. As an example, a lot of e-commerce is actually advertising arbitrage. What that means is a lot of small e-commerce, small to medium e-commerce businesses, what they're really doing is they're just finding underpriced advertising through things like Meta ads, YouTube ads, and so on, and they're getting those, you know, underpriced advertising dollars to work, directing traffic towards a product that is then selling. But the funny thing is, they're not actually a business that is about that product. They're not necessarily making the product better. They're not necessarily building a brand. And the moment they stop running ads, they stop selling units, right? So only as long as they're running ads, they're making money. And the moment the ads stop being profitable, which is actually kind of inevitable, because you cannot have profitable advertising forever because it's a flexible marketplace where the price is always changing, the competition is always changing, and people will always be looking to go where there's profit. So other people will creep into your market, the prices will change so that it's less profitable over time, and so on, unless you innovate. And so the game of advertising arbitrage is finding ways to innovate, find cheaper and cheaper media, find new platforms to advertise on for less, lower rates to continue to make that money. This is opposed to e-commerce where you're building a brand and you're focusing on the product and improving it over time and building your customer base. And because you're improving the product over time and it's a really good product, word of mouth is also generating sales, which means even if you stopped advertising, you would continue to sell. And not only would you continue to sell, you would actually grow in sales over time. So that's kind of the difference between building a brand and focusing on the product versus looking for trendy products and selling them through advertising and focusing on the profits rather than the quality of the product. Now, both are completely viable routes, but I do think building the brand has a better long-term value, but it is slow to ramp up. It takes long-term investment, whereas the short-term e-commerce is faster. You can make more money in the short term, but you constantly have to be finding new products or finding new ways to advertise existing products. Another example is realizing that the cleaning business is not really about cleaning people's homes because there's so many people who need their home cleaned that it is a supply constrained business, which means you'll always have more demand than you know what to do with. So it becomes a business about advertising to, workers, potential cleaners, people to hire, contractors or employees, and paying them really well, training them really well, getting them to stay long enough that, or to keep hiring more, like if you have a lot of churn, but ideally reducing employee churn so that you can then serve all these people who need their houses cleaned, right? Funnily enough, it does help to be cleaning the houses better than your competition, but one of the best ways you will achieve that is to have employees stay long enough that they can get good and learn your systems and grow over time in the company and thus help the company grow. So it's a deceptive business because rather than cleaning houses, what you are is an HR firm, effectively. You are a recruiting and training and retention company of people, first and foremost. So it's just interesting to think that when you peel back the layers on a business, you find the business is not about what you initially thought it was. It is actually about something else because that's what makes the gears of the business turn. And so whenever you are looking to start a business, just consider asking yourself, what really is the engine of this business? And so what will I spend the majority of my days doing or focusing on? So if you love recruiting people and training them and working with people and sort of those HR related roles, then a cleaning company could be a really good fit for you, right? Whereas if you love to do sales or you love to close deals, then it might be better to try a business that is, rather than being supply constrained, is actually demand constrained so that you get to flex your muscles and basically put effort into generating demand. And that's where advertising and things like that come in, right? So e-commerce can be a good start for that.